All right, guys, we're going to do a little recording here on trade plan setup and how to prioritize things like Fibonacci, VWAPs, and gaps, and so on and so forth, standard deviation. Standard deviation, for your question, Sam, it's going to be more on the less side. I'm not going to be using standard deviation on the super high side. That's going to be one of the last things I use. I only use that actually for like VIX and the dollar right now. I haven't been using it on main charts because I am using the deviations of the VWAP, so I'm not going to cover on that one. But everything else, we're going to start with gaps. So most importantly for me, number one is gaps. Doesn't matter if it's a daily, weekly, 15, 30, opening gap. Gaps are the most important thing. Number two is going to be fibs. And those two right there are the bias of all trade starts. After that, we will be stacking catalyst. So when we have a fib and gaps, we are looking to the RSI, looking to the MACD, and looking to the VIX and dollar, right? Those are our bearish indicators here for stacking catalyst. And stacking catalyst is multiple things going in the same direction, saying the same thing, right? So when we have a setup on gaps and fibs, we're going to be looking at RSI next for entries and MACD, which they kind of roll the same, but they give incantations. And then after that, we're large time frame, support and resistance. In that order, pretty much. And I stack all these together. And you're looking for catalysts like, okay, there's a gap fib and RSI and MAC, and we're into a weekly support, right? So we have like four things stacked with each other that are going to be big. So let's go over a trade setup, right? So we had a gap on regular trading hours, right? To the start. So what you do is you take the opening candle, yesterday's close. This is the gap that I'm going to use right away. And we had a pop to short thesis today. So we are into the pre-market high. We have the roll. So what do I do with this? I'm going to take yesterday's close and I'm going to drag that up to the opening candle, the opening price point. So this is the first 1 minute open. Okay. And now I have a gap. If you're not using pre-market and after hours trading, you have a gap right here. And most gaps fill same day. So I'm going to back this out and I'm going to look at the fibs. And I'm going to go, all right, first is fibs. Let me shrink these so we can see these real clean. And gaps. So I have associated myself with both now. I am now fibbing out a gap, okay? Because we have one. What do we know about Fibonacci? Once we break out of my Fibonacci box, which is my favorite, we go to extensions. Once we go to extension 1618, we have an availability to do what? Either pop back to the 100 fib and continue. And we're looking for the 2618. Once the 2618 clicks, 80% of your trade should be done on my rules, because if you were shorting the pop to drop open that we had the sentiment for, I would be most out right here. And right now we are long biased up to the anchored VWAP, right? Center. So we'll go over that in a second. So fibs and gaps are done. My bias for the day to the downside. I have hit target short. My target short is done, 2618. And earlier, right, not on record, we obviously called the long, posted on X as well, so we have a little bit of data there. I'm looking for my anchor top-down VWAP, and we're just stacking catalyst here, okay? This is the high of 1 minute chart day. And you notice price action has not clicked into the purple VWAP right here. That is the back test we are looking for. This is the back test I called right here to 427.80s to 428. So I have now 3 different catalysts saying the short is done, and we are looking for upside. Let's make it 5 and 6 catalyst. What else am I looking at here? This whole consolidation I've been calling long for you guys. Why? Look at the RSI and the MAC. Higher low on the MAC, higher low on the RSI, big buy waves, consolidation, breakout to top-down VWAP, because we never hit it. This is a no hit. We need to hit live, okay? So now we have 5 or 6 catalysts telling us what to trade and how to trade. Let's go back here. Now the Fibonacci, again, being the most important, and the backtest of VWAP. So right now, this VWAP might come into contact as close as the Qs. Let's see where they are at. 427.84, 427.79. So we could use the regular VWAP as well here if we wanted to, because they're relatively close. But let's talk about the ladder of the Fibonacci and how it works. Once the Fibonacci completes itself out of the box, we are obviously downside. 2618 is the main target where most of your trade is done. After the 2618 hits, just like the first tag from 100 fib to 1618 to 100 fib to 2618. This is a travel pattern right here. Just like the hit, once it hits the 2618, where do you think it's going to go back to? The 1618, like a ladder, okay? So 1618 becomes target. Now I'm stacking multiple catalysts. What are the catalysts I have? I have an anchor VWAP. I have RSI. I have MAC. I have VWAP, gap, fib. I got 6 different things telling me where a bottom is, right? And where a target is, which is going to be VWAP. And this is the 1618. So I added another catalyst there for that. So in that order, every single trade day that I open up, I start with that order. How do I make a trade plan? Well, I start with Fibonacci and gaps first and foremost, no matter what, right? So on a trade day like, like yesterday, we could even give an example quick here in Qs, where the opening close candles of Q. So yesterday's trade lows from the close, right? Let's delete this fib. So yesterday's opening price right here to the close. Now notice from yesterday's close, we don't really have a gap to work off here, right? So what do? We still stick with Fibonacci's, but if there's no gap, what do? Well, on a daily chart setup like this, I'm going to look for the next best thing. We have an all-time high candle, right? So obviously we're going to fib out the daily candle. We're going to stick with fibs, but price action is opening up inside this candle right here, right? Look at the price action for 2.5. The Monday candle opened up engulfed. We're right there at the close. We're still inside the price action. So I'm going to fib this out. So fibs, boom, boom. And I'm going to go to yesterday, not tomorrow, price action. And I'm going to see where those fibs play out. Okay. And now we can see the big dump washed her all the way down, and look at the golden pocket consolidation. Now let's look at our catalyst again. Auto arranging back up. Catalyst for 1, low of day. Awesome. We have been selling off intensely. What's our biggest catalyst? You see this blue dashed line? That's the 10 SMA on the daily time frame. Catalyst number 1, and on the bottom of that list we started with was historic long-term support resistance. So the 10 SMA is a daily moving average. That is very strong. That is not a 1 minute, 5 minute, 15. That's a daily. That is big support. What else is stacked right here? We got 23.6 fib. Perfect. Not bad. What is the RSI telling us? MAC has a higher low. RSI has a lower low reversal. So RSI really isn't that much help, but the MAC is a catalyst. Okay, so we got fib 1, MAC 2, 10 SMA 3. And one of my favorite things, coming into the 10 a.m. to 10:30 reversal time, this is a Euro close algo. So again, I'm going to stack another catalyst between 10 and 10:30. That's reversal time. And you're going to see the confirmation of the trade. The confirmation is getting back of the golden pocket, because no matter what, the golden pocket is the most important thing on Fibonacci, which is above or below the 50 fib. That's the pocket between, it's too high. The pockets between 61.8 and 50, and the pocket between 38.20 and 50. These right here are the golden pockets. So what do you see here? It comes back down underneath, gets inside the golden pocket, and creates a higher low, higher high structure, higher low, higher high structure. We are now holding this as support. So we have confirmation that we are in the top of the RSI, which is uptrend biased, top of the MAC, which is uptrend biased, and we have a squeeze to move. So I'm utilizing fibs and gaps first for confirmational moves, and that's where I'm going to prioritize it, right? And now even coming into today's price action, because these are going to play out for many, many days as long as we're inside the candle. Why does this candle matter more than any other candle on the daily chart? It's because it's an all-time high candle. 430.24 is an all-time high for Qs. So this candle, the algorithms know right here to keep an eye on those fibs in the engulfing. So let's take a peek at today's price action, only using those fibs. What's the bottom of the day? Oh, weird. Almost to the exact penny. It's the 50 fib. This is why Fibonacci is the most important thing that I use. Here's your support, and our target is about to hit. It's cleaning house right here. VWAP, and we got that from the golden pocket, again, prioritizing Fibonacci, getting a nice MAC cross in the 5 minute, utilizing the MAC, showing the MAC here has a ton of room right here. So on the catalyst side, how do I know to let this trade go? How do I know to keep the winner running? How do I know to keep the price action current with potential upside? Why do I know this? Well, let's go over why I know this long is going to happen. MAC cross 5 minute has room to the max 0 line. Here's the moving averages. Here's the 0 line. We have a big gap that the moving averages can come all the way up to. The RSI is coming to the 50 point, right? But this is the 5 minute. We know the 1 minute is already in the top channel RSI for uptrend, right? Boom. We're already cruising. Another catalyst is the 1 minute's clear house. What's our last catalyst? Like I said, stacking everything we can, the VIX. And what do we say about the VIX? Stay long till 1346 is filled. There is a gap right here. We also call this. So once this gap is filled, you can take off your short or your long, and you can look for a pullback if you want to for a VIX bounce. So again, I'm stacking those catalysts in my list as I go down, because the more catalysts stacked, the more momentum you have on your trade, right? More conviction on your trade. So I know we've been in this one for an hour and whatever it is, but we're pretty much there. The target was VWAP. We got there within 3 cents. So that's where you're taking those profit now. And again, we still have a lot more room, I think. So if there's another reset down, where we could see another pop back up, maybe back to the 200 SMA, but it just needs a reset. So another consolidation point. So let's say it comes up to the VWAP here, comes down for a little bit, goes one more higher high. The 200 SMA is going to be my next target, because we have already exhausted my target of the purple VWAP, right? So we change it up a little bit because we don't have a back test of these moving averages right here from the 200 wash. We chopped it, washed it. So I back tested the 200 before it wants to make another directional pick. Whatever way it wants to go, it doesn't matter to us. We're trying to get there. The follow through is what's going to happen later with confirmation on indicators. Does that make sense how we prioritize that? So mini lesson there on gaps, Fibonacci's, and stacking catalysts, making sure you have multiple working parts for your trade. So tune in for that next lesson.